place. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, viewers. It is 7:22 a.m. and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. In this interview, we will be chatting, and we should have on the line with us this morning Shalina Rooplal, Research Officer of BCRC Caribbean, and Janine Boodram, Research Analyst of BCRC Caribbean. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting us.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you all today. Thank you.
Great. Good morning, ladies. Good morning to the both of you. Well, as we get started this morning, we want you to start by indicating for us, for those who are not as familiar, who is BCRC Caribbean?
Okay, thank you, and good morning again.
Good
So
morning.
the BCRC Caribbean, the longer name is the Basel Convention Regional Center for Training and Technology Transfer for the Caribbean. And we are one of 14 regional and coordinating centers established under the Basel Convention, and we support 15 countries that are party to this convention in the Caribbean with implementing the international obligations of this convention. Trinidad and Tobago would have ratified this convention in 1994. So we also, and they are our host country, so we have a good working relationship with them and several national projects in Trinidad and Tobago as well.
All right. So, ladies, let me ask you here. You're both into research. Shalina, and I'm not sure which one we just chatted with, whether it was Shalina or Janine. You were Janine?
Janine, yes.
Janine, okay. So, Janine, you're a research analyst, and Shalina is a research officer. What has your research shown you with regards to this convention and Trinidad and Tobago's part in all of this?
Okay, so I will just briefly touch on some background information. So Trinidad and Tobago, as it relates to this project with mobile phone disposal, Trinidad and Tobago, in Trinidad and Tobago, there are 1.9 current mobile subscription plans, which is indicative of the number of mobile phones that persons will have. And this outnumbers the population. This was statistics from the World Bank in 2020. So basically, for every 100 persons, there were 144 mobile subscriptions active. So in this regard, given the short lifespan of mobile phones, we recognize the need to ensure there was a mechanism for the environmentally sound disposal of this waste stream.
Okay.
So I want you all to tell us exactly, I just indicated before we came into this interview in earlier discussions, I'm one of those, and I thought I was doing an excellent thing. Guilty of, I get a new phone, I put the old one in the new box, and I wait and I hold the box just in case I needed to go back for warranty. And by Christmas cleaning, I probably throw it into my regular bin in terms of going out. Tell us of the specifics of this project, because that's something I never want to continue doing again at all. Let me get Shalina to join the conversation here with us. Tell us about the specifics of this project with regards to the ideal way to treat with your used and end-of-life mobile phones.
So this project specifically, we have two key activities, and the first of these is the collection drive. And in Tobago, we have two locations. One is at Cellular Planet in Scarborough, and the other is at the Environmental Research Institute in Charlottesville. And what we would want to do, you can look for a branded bin at these locations. Go and drop off your additional cost. We ensure that your data is secure, your phones are wiped upon collection and processing, and it's really to ensure that your phones aren't living in their old boxes. They're diverted from the landfills. They're not sitting around in drawers. We really want to dispose of these in an environmentally sound manner so that we can reap the benefits later on.
Tell us a little bit more about the broader objective of this project. For the person looking on and saying, but why should I fight up with all of that?
So part of the project involves raising awareness, and we really want to teach the local population and regionally later on about the importance of disposing your phones in an environmentally sound manner. And really, we want the overarching objective here is to divert this waste stream from our landfills. We recognize, as Janine mentioned, that there are a large number of mobile phones going to the landfills, and this is a small step in that direction.
Now, I want to talk a little bit here about the faces of the public awareness campaign, which would be Selwyn and Selma. Quite interesting, and their names begin with CELL, not SEL, but CELL. Give us some little background information on the use of these particular icons, emojis, for this campaign.
So Selwyn and Selma are two mascots, and they were developed as part of the Hello campaign. Hello stands for Helping Electronics Live Longer. So they are being used along with their associated logos and branding as the face of the campaign. So when you see your bins, you look out for Selwyn and Selma. They're also being used on our social media platforms to share important tips, important project information, anything key to do with the project. Really, you'd see Selma and Selwyn at the fore.
But is it also used to target the younger generation to create a sense of awareness?
The younger generation is a part of it, yes, but we really want to bring this across in a personable way. We want to make this technical information palatable to the general public, and that's why we use Selwyn and Selma.
Okay.
Telling us a little bit more, what will happen to these phones after I do my drop-off, so that I know what I'm contributing to ultimately in terms of the end product or that greater goal?
So after you drop off, the phones will be collected, and we've engaged a local certified e-waste recycler, Piranha International Limited. They will collect these phones for processing. The phones will be sorted as waste or non-waste. The waste phones, they will be wiped and dismantled, and Piranha International takes responsibility for ensuring that your data is secure as well. So after that, the parts will be shipped abroad for recycling, and the phones that are non-waste will be set aside for refurbishment.
Now, this is for the project purpose, but what happens after the project has ended? What happens with those cell phones that would be, according to Julian, put in the corner of the room until Christmas cleaning comes around at the end of the year?
Okay, so further to the project, we are also looking at sustainability initiatives where we would engage mobile phone carriers to continue the collection of used and end-of-life cell phones and engage with local recycling companies in a similar fashion. But persons, of course, they own us for the waste generated by a person would be on the generator. So if you do have old mobile phones, you can always, or other electronic waste, of course, you can always contact local e-waste recycling companies. And you should note that in some cases there is a fee attached to the recycling of the environmentally sound recycling of e-waste, and you can liaise with your local recycling companies to ensure that these equipment are disposed of in an environmentally sound manner. One thing that we do want to note as well is that electronic waste, including some of your cell phones, the reason that we want to ensure that this is diverted from landfills is because of the fact that if they do become broken, in landfills, which we often, and in some of our site visits, we have come across cell phones which have been cracked and strewn across the landfill. The issue there is that some of the hazardous components in the cell phones, including heavy metals such as lead, arsenic, cadmium, can leach out into the environment. And something else that we also want to alert the public of is that the plastic casings in your cell phone, when they become cracked, that's also an issue because they may contain brominated flame retardants. And these are also a class of hazardous chemicals that we want to prevent from leaching into our environment because of their negative effects, such as cancer and endocrine disruption and so on. So it's really important that we ensure that these waste streams are disposed of through the correct channels.
I'd like you to also share with us the period for which this project will be taking place. And I know there was mention of the 2 locations in Tobago, but because for the benefit of our viewers also connecting from Trinidad, can you tell us about the locations as well for those in Trinidad to be able to do their drop-off?
Okay, so the collection drive will run until the end of March 2023. But as Janine mentioned, we're working on a mechanism to support further e-waste collection beyond the life of the project. In Trinidad, you have 11 collection points. And of course, at the BCRC Caribbean office, you have the EMA South office in San Fernando. You have Swim Call on Independence Square. You have Cellmaster at West Mall and Trinity Mall. You have Selfless in Chagonas, Digicel at C3 Center, Penal, and Sangre Grande. And I think that's it, James.
Nice. Give us an idea, where can persons find this information beyond this interview? You know, they just got a glimpse of it this morning. They didn't get all the details, social media, telephone contacts. How can they connect with this project to really continue to be a part of this initiative?
You can find the BCRC Caribbean on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And of course, you can give us a call at 628-8369.
All right. I'm hoping here, Shalina, we're just asking if you can repeat that information for us one more time, please.
Sure, no problem. You can find the BCRC Caribbean on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And you can give us a call at 628-8369.
Now, Shalina, something you said earlier stood out to me, and I wanted to get a quick distinction from you. You made a reference to recycling and you made reference to refurbishment. Tell me about the difference in the context of this specific project.
So this project specifically is working towards the recycling of the waste phones. The phones that are non-waste, we are working on a mechanism to support their refurbishment. So when these are set aside, we would want to ensure that these are also treated in an environmentally sound manner.
So the difference would be, one would be you'd be able to utilize it after versus one you kind of dispose of the parts as you know.
Yes.
I know I'm not saying it in your technical terms, but please tell us the difference.
No, that is correct. The refurbished phones should be able to be used afterward. The ones for recycling will be dismantled and the parts will be utilized.
All right. I want to thank you, but very quickly here, are persons generally, because this is your area of study, are persons generally concerned about how they dispose of their unused, damaged cell phones and devices? Now, I know we kept mentioning cell phones, but we're talking tablets, cell phones, and other electronic devices, yes?
For this campaign, we are focused on cell phones only.
Okay.
So unfortunately, the scope of this project covers only the phones. But as it relates to the attitudes for the disposal of phones, which was part of your initial question, we did conduct a pre-knowledge attitudes and practices survey. And we found that generally persons tend to store their mobile phones in a drawer for a while until it's possible for them to give it away to someone who, or donate it to someone who may be able to use it until it can no longer be used. However, there are points in time where persons would have indicated that if a phone is beyond repair, it is tossed into, it is commingled with their solid municipal waste, honestly, and just tossed into the garbage.
Right.
And this is the specific behavior that we're trying to prevent.
All right. Thank you.
As we prepare to wrap this morning's interview, Shalina, your closing words here, what would you like to share as we prepare to close?
We would like to encourage persons to drop off their mobile phones for recycling, and I'd like to reiterate the 2 locations in Tobago are Cellular Planet in Scarborough and the Environmental Research Institute in Charlottesville. And we really hope that sharing this with you today would encourage your recycling of your old phones. Maybe you go and you find the phones that you have in the drawers and bring them to our collection points. And thank you very much again for having us today.
All right. And Janine, in your closing, remind us again of the contact information and how can persons get in contact with your organization?
Sure. So we are the BCRC Caribbean. You can look us up on the World Wide Web at bcrc-caribbean.org. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. For posts related to this project, you'll always see Salma and Salwin sharing great tips about e-waste and cell phone usage in particular. And also, please feel free to contact us via telephone at 628-8369. Thank you all for having us this morning.
Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us here on set this morning. Shalina Rooplal, Research Officer, BCRC Caribbean, and Janine Boodram, Research Analyst of BCRC Caribbean. Very educating, very informative, Ria. The kind of project that tells you, hey, I can do much better in relation to recycling and the possibility of refurbishing. Particularly treating with my phones and even the consideration of other devices down the road.
Yeah, so I think when we're talking cell phone use, we need to also include end of life. And I love, the term is so interesting, end of life disposal of the said cell phones. Because like you said, we just toss it in a corner, put it in a drawer until Christmas cleaning comes around again at the end of the year.
And if you have young children around, they start to play with it now like their phone.
That's right.
And they take it up and the next thing you know, all right, it's really time to throw that out. All right, so you have the opportunity, make sure that you connect. It's at Cellular Planet, and the other drop-off point in Tobago is also the Environmental Research Institute in Charlottesville. That's Eric, the Environmental Research Institute in Charlottesville. So let's make sure we play our part and making our contribution to this project here, and you can certainly continue to connect with them online.
All right, so Julian.
All right.
Lots more coming up.
Lots more coming up indeed. So viewers, we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support. Stay tuned, stay connected, because this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.